closer. I couldn't hear you, so I don't know if anybody else heard you. దగ్గర పెట్టు.
Hi all, this is Jairam. I am from JMR Institute of Technology. I have an idea to speak English.
Good evening all. I am Prem Kumar from Krishna Degree College and I am pursuing my bachelor's degree in commerce.
Good evening everyone. My name is C.H. Manivaran. I am pursuing my final year bachelor degree in commerce in Dr. V.S. Krishna Government Degree College.
Good evening everyone. I am Puneet from Krishna College. I am pursuing bachelor's in physics honors. Thank you.
Good evening everyone. Good evening everyone. I am Vishnu Arthur from Dr. V.S. Krishna Government Degree College, pursuing BCom Accounting and Taxation.
Good evening everyone. I am S. Gopal Krishna from Krishna College. Good evening everyone. My name is Prithviraj. I am a science enthusiast and a startup enthusiast too. I am a data science pursuit. I am pursuing data science in DPIIT from MBGR College.
Good evening, Sriram here. I'm part of Gramina Incubation Center.
Good evening all. Myself Swaroop. I am from Troshi Technologies Private.
Good evening everyone. This is Sirisha from Troshi Technologies.
Good afternoon everyone. This is Suresh. I have multiple years of experience with startups. I have my own engineering services company. Thank you.
And she walks in, so she gets the mic. Introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Usha Raju, director from Avni Organics. I also run a society for children with diabetics, and by profession I'm a dietitian and a diabetes educator.
Thank you. She's also a startup founder,
Yeah.
Avni Organics. So, thank you all. A very warm welcome to all the speakers, guests, and attendees. Several of you may have ideas that you want to share. This is a forum, this is a safe space to share your ideas. Those of you who are new, nothing to be intimidated. If you have an idea you want to share, please put your thoughts together. There will be a section when we ask you to share your ideas, open mic session, so please be ready for it. Okay? Okay, this forum's purpose is to establish and build an integrated ecosystem with a variety of supports for entrepreneurs. It is open to everyone and we hope you all take full advantage of it by participating and contributing. If you're wondering what can and does happen in these sessions, here is a brief outline. Those of you who are new here, who haven't been here before, we have several segments of this program. First one is Show Me the Money, this is a segment where Bhavna, our grants management specialist, usually presents details about one grant. Today she is not well, so she's been able to skip that section. She's out on leave, she's not well. She provides details about one grant that many of us may be eligible for, and she provides dates and few details of upcoming grants. The next one is Technical Talk, which is a feature segment of this program. Each session has a different topic. We bring in experts sharing their experience and expertise. Then we have a pitching session for your startup. If you are a startup and you want to pitch, which you should as often as you can, we have a slot for you to pitch your company regardless of the stage you're at. It is always good to be practicing your pitch repeatedly, selling yourself and your company. Is there anyone ready to pitch today? Any startup that wants to pitch? Okay.
Yeah, we work with
You want to pitch your startup?
Yeah. So I mean, we did not give it any notice earlier.
But do you have a pitch?
No, we don't have anything. But if you want, I can give an oral presentation.
So we'll get to the pitch section, pitch segment, and then we can try to do something. Because if you don't have a presentation, then it is
Then
hard
it
for
will be a
people to
problem.
understand what's going on.
I thought it meant allocated.
Then it will be sort of an idea pitch,
Yeah.
which there is a segment for that. Idea pitches, slots for ideas are always available. We know we have Jairam from GMRIT Rajam. If there is anybody else, I would encourage you to pitch your ideas. And then we have an open mic. That is for anyone who feels inspired and wants to share an idea. That is, this is the place to share and get some feedback. You may be worried that, oh, my idea is not concrete and clear enough, and somebody might laugh at it or criticize it. Doesn't matter. This is a safe space. If somebody is laughing at it and criticizing it, then we will ask them to leave. So nothing to worry. We put in the effort to organize these, and we are having fun doing it. The more you engage, the more you derive. Here are a few basic rules before we commence the meeting. Kindly put your mobile phones on silent mode. Please refrain from entering or exiting the session while a speaker is delivering their presentation. Please wait until the speaker concludes their session. Please refrain from crosstalk or side conversations. It is distracting. If you are pitching today and have a presentation, please send your presentation to Pranav, who is sitting here now. That will avoid delays setting up the presentation. We run a tight program. Kindly note that a pitch is allotted a maximum time of 10 minutes, 6 to 7 minutes to present and 3 to 4 minutes for Q&A session. We kindly ask all presenters to adhere to the allocated time to ensure a smooth flow of the event. If you're comfortable in Telugu, please feel free to present in Telugu. There is no compulsion that you have to speak in English. Everybody understands Telugu here? Okay, we're in good shape then. So there is no need to be obligated to speak in English. We request the audience to reserve your questions for the designated Q&A period for each segment. If the speaker is encouraging questions during their presentation, then follow along. But if the speaker is not ready to take questions, please wait until they give you a chance. Alright, with that, first segment usually is Show Me the Money, where we dig into one particular grant. Bhavna is not well. I tried to do something, but I didn't have enough time to find the information that I could present. So we'll skip that section today. The next one is the feature presentation. So it will be Mr. Vinay speaking today, but before we call him on stage, I want to explain a little bit about this feature segment. If you're wondering how we pick our speakers for these technical sessions, here is a brief explanation. We focus at 4 levels to explore entrepreneurship and bring you the best of ideas and depth of understanding. We look at the individual, the company, the sector, and the ecosystem. Each level has a distinct set of challenges and opportunities, suitable set of skills and resources, and provides a level of understanding of entrepreneurship. For those of you who are very new to entrepreneurship, this may be like Greek and Latin, but please follow along. It'll make sense as you go. As you engage more, it'll make more sense. If you are already an entrepreneur, these talks will help you understand the journey. If you're considering it or just exploring, these talks will help you give you a great intro into the journey. Today we will focus on the company. Mr. Vinay has been helping startups with several compliances. But when we began thinking about this session and what to focus on, we quickly zoomed in on the most frequent questions we get from startups at our hub. At our hub, we don't require you to have a company to join us. If you have an idea, you're welcome to join us. All we need is an idea with an ambition. And if you can convince us that that idea will make money, you're welcome to join us. But once you join, you will have 3 months to get all your compliances in place. The ultimate milestone being DPIIT registration. Now, the first question we often get is, what should we register our company as? Sole proprietorship, a partnership firm, one-person company, etc., etc. Everybody has this question. The second most frequent question is about DPIIT. As an incubator, we use Startup India criteria to ensure we are serving the right set of companies. You have to be DPIIT eligible and registered to be at our hub. Startup India registration or DPIIT registration is required for all our startups. We allow 3 months for any startup at our hub to be registered with DPIIT. So once you join our hub, you have 3 months before you get your DPIIT registration. If you're not there, then we'll have to ask you to leave because we can't serve you. We even help companies with the process. Third frequent question is about the benefits of registering under DPIIT. So when we were thinking about this, Vinay, who helps startups both within AP and beyond, graciously agreed and accepted our request. So let's welcome Mr. Vinay to present all about DPIIT and registration and all other related stuff. Thank you. actually make a group. How are you doing?
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Am I loud enough? Yes. Is this clear?
You'll start getting. You'll start hurting.
It's okay. I'll use it if required. Is that fine?
I'm sure that's what the recording. Oh, recording is another problem.
Oh, okay, fine. Then I'll take it. Okay, so I've been instructed to use the mic, so I'll use it. So, how many of you are startup founders? Fantastic. How many of you are aspiring founders who would want to start their startup of their own? Wow, that's nice. Probably when I was, at your age and stage, I never thought of a startup incorporating. Forget all of that. Where do we go for, go out for a movie or play with friends, etc. Anyways, so I'd like to start with a saying which goes something like, curiosity is the beginning of knowledge, and action is the beginning of change. How many of you have some knowledge about finance, accounts, taxation? Yes? Wow, all of you do. You're my favorite audience then. So, some of you have. How many of you like accounts, finance and all?
That's a different question.
Yeah, the more important question in fact. So, okay, couple of you. Still you're my favorite audience. A good number of people like finance, accounts and all. They say finance is the lifeblood of business. Agreed? Yes, no?
Yes.
I would like you all to respond. Let's keep this interactive. I know I like hearing my voice and all of that, but still. Okay? So, why are we doing this session? When I was having a chat with Divakar and Srinivas from AHA. Okay, mostly thank you AHA for continuing to organize these startup Saturdays. We've had wonderful sessions. I had an opportunity to attend a couple of sessions. So while we were talking with Divakar and Srinivas, there was a peculiar question which came up. We've had questions, even people who've come to me, what do I do? How do I set up my company is the first question that they ask. How do I set up my company? Company is a very generic word as far as general people are concerned, but when it comes to your legal compliances, your incorporation, your entity setup, company is a very specific word. There are companies, there are partnership firms, there are proprietorship firms, there are LLPs, etc. People generally tend to use, I have a firm. Sir, how do I do? What do I do? I have a company. What do I do? Then when we ask them, what do you do? Did you set up? Do you have an incorporation certificate? It's like, no sir, I just have a PAN and Aadhaar. Then we tend to realize that, okay, what they have is a proprietorship and not a private limited company. So there is a lot of confusion. There is not a lot of understanding also as to which entity is to be set up and how do you go about it. This is a very common question. I've seen more than 90-95% of founders asking me. So we thought, let's shed some light on it, make it easy for you guys. And then, okay, I'll just take you through. This is our team. We're a team of lawyers and CAs working on compliances, etc. Let's skip through those. Okay. Today, in the 25-minute slot that is here, we'll be covering what are the incorporation processes and the starting of a business. How do you take a decision as to what entity is to be set up? Then we have what are the types of entities, the pros and cons, which is more useful. Remember one thing, there is no one size that fits all. Everyone has a different requirement and a different expectation when they begin their business. So it will change as per your business needs. Then there's something called as DPIIT registration that is taken. DPIIT, why do you take it and what are the benefits? We'll just cover it in a brief. I'm not covering the form filling part of DPIIT, which is fairly simple one, nothing so complex about it. We'll just touch upon what is a financial statement, a balance sheet and a P&L. Again, finance, balance sheet and P&L are too vast to be covered here. I'll just touch upon it, know a couple of terms that are there and you're good to go. Okay, what are the types of investing instruments? Okay. Good. Am I too fast? Slow? Can we move forward? Right.
Yes.
Thank you. So, incorporation is basically the start of your story. You have an idea, you've pitched it, you've discussed it. Now you're confident enough that this is a good, viable idea. Let me try my hand at it and see how do I go about it. So, what are the options that you have as far as the Indian landscape is concerned? Again, things change across outside the country, like let's say US has some other concepts, a different type of entities as well, UK has something else, okay? We are talking exclusively about India. There is a proprietorship, there is a partnership, there is an LLP. LLP stands for Limited Liability Partnership, okay? Again, so if you see partnership firm and LLP are partnerships only, they have their own distinct features and similarities. We have something called as a company. Then we have something called as a society or a trust or an association of person. Then there is a Section 8 company, which Devakar was mentioning if you've heard. OHUB is a Section 8 company, right? Then there are NGOs, NPOs. Like if you see Avani Organics is a producer company. Ma'am, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is another distinct type of company, producer company, which is set up for a very specific purpose. Let's say you're into a software or a technological startup. Producer company is not applicable for you and wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. For their model of business, which involves agriculture, farming, etc., where they produce something, producer companies are a specific set of concepts introduced for benefit of agriculture-based startups. Okay, so you will have to decide which entity you have to choose for your business. Now we'll look at how simple is it. What are the laws that govern these entities, the paperwork, the purpose. And let's say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, you would want to set up, go for funding, and you're going to come over the stage, make a pitch, and present to your investors, etc. What kind of entity would work for you? Right? Sounds good? Everybody asleep already?
No.
Okay. So this is a relative comparison. Remember, just because you have an idea doesn't mean you have to set up a private limited company today itself. Okay? You can wait for some time, test out your idea as a proprietorship and then move on to a company, for example. Okay, that's why I said it is a relative comparison. So, the entities that we've talked about, proprietorship, firm, LLP and company. So, if you talk about on the simplicity sense, proprietorship is the simplest. All you need is an Aadhaar card and a PAN card. In fact, if you have an Aadhaar card, you can get an instant PAN as far as an individual is concerned. Right? So you get a you get a PAN card within 24 hours, in fact, instant. You don't have to apply. But when it comes to a firm, LLP or a company, there are processes. Firm is easy, LLP is a little more complex, and company being relatively the most complex to set up. Okay. Now we'll just talk about the distinct features. Proprietorship meaning you just start a business in your individual name. You open an account. You have a PAN, Aadhaar. If required, you will take a GST and you can just get going today itself. If you have a PAN and Aadhaar and a bank account, you don't even need a GST, you can just start your business today itself. That's the best part of a proprietorship. But when it comes to a partnership firm, you need to write a partnership deed. There is an act that governs it. And then you have to set up an entity which takes anywhere between, let's say, 7 to 14 days. LLP takes, let's say, another 20 to 25 days to set up, get all your compliances in order, and company takes almost close to a month or even more also sometimes. Okay, the distinct feature as far as a proprietorship and a partnership firm is concerned, partnership has at least 2 people mandatory. You need a partnership, you need someone else to enter into a partnership, right? So you'll need 2 people for a partnership firm. When you set up a partnership firm, there is something called as a liability clause. Remember, we've discussed 2 words, partnership firm and limited liability partnership firm. So there is a difference, right? Limited liability and a normal partnership firm, which implies a normal partnership firm has unlimited liability. Meaning, let us say me and Mr. Devakar are in a partnership firm. Okay, there is an act that I have done, and even though he does not have any say in it, both of us will be liable. And how much will be the liability? It will be including our personal assets also. That is a major risk with a partnership firm. So we generally encourage, if there are 2 people in the same family who are planning to start a business, it is okay to go for a partnership firm. The moment you have external partners, we encourage people to start setting up at least an LLP. Because ultimately it is all about trust, and when there is an unlimited liability clause in a partnership firm, would you want to take that risk and expose all of your personal assets to any kind of outside liability? Outside liability ante em ledu. Very simple, you have done some work, you've raised a bill, or there is a case or a suit that is filed against you. In case of a normal partnership firm, if the case is not in your favor and you lose it, the liability comes into the firm as well as your personal assets. That is where an LLP or a company will save you. The liability will be only limited to the extent of the company's capital or the contribution in the firm. That is where an LLP is beneficial. This might sound a little complex at first. In case you are not clear, please ask me right away. I will try to clarify. Do you have any queries when it comes to liability in respect of a partnership firm or a limited liability partnership? Yes?
More than that, I think these are various aspects that is overarching view bond. And startup ki what is the best thing you suggest? I think we'd go by that. That is the.
There is no best thing as far as a startup is concerned, sir. That is why I said there is no one size that fits all. To register or to begin with your idea, you can even start as a proprietorship. There is nothing stopping you. Why do you, let us say we come to the cost of compliance. To set up a company, upfront you need to spend, let's say, 20 to 25,000 minimum. Would you want to start it off even before your idea is actually tested? It wouldn't make a lot of sense at that time.
But can you switch between the registrations?
Yeah, I'll come there. So, since you're already experienced in this, you are having these kinds of questions. I appreciate it. So, when it comes to setting up an entity, again I'm repeating it, there is no one size that fits all. Me business ki proprietorship can also work as of today. And 2 months down the line, once you see a good, a positive feedback to your idea, you can set up a partnership firm. You can set up a partnership firm first today and later on convert it into a company. You can set up an LLP and convert it into a company. You can set up a proprietorship and convert it into a company. There is no restriction on conversion. So conversion is always possible. So if you are a little skeptical, instead of spending upfront, there is a lot of cost and time involved. I would like to get going today. Start as a proprietorship, nothing wrong. But eventually, when you progress and your idea clicks, or you need a DPIIT registration, that is the day when you can move to a LLP or a company. Okay, I will take up what is DPIIT registration, what entity you need, etc., etc. But just remember, as founders, you need to understand what you need to set up. We've had cases wherein certain startup founders have come to us. They have incorporated a company. They have engaged an online consultant. They have incorporated it. Incorporation process is done. But they have not realized that after you set up a company, there are a lot of compliances which have to be done. If you don't do those compliances, Companies Act, let us say you incorporated a private limited company, company is incorporated. Am I audible?
Am I audible?
Sorry about the technological glitches. So if you have incorporated a company and you have not completed the compliances that the government has told you to do, then your startup is in a problem. So I'll give you a very simple example. If you set up a company and don't do its annual compliances for 3 years, in the future you're not permitted to be a director in any other company. So there are issues. You have to get your accounts certified by a chartered accountant. You need to certify and submit it to the MCA. These are all compliances prescribed for a company. So when you set up that particular entity, understand what are all the things that you need to do. Without getting into the specifics, please don't start a business or a business entity for that matter. Is this clear? Right? So now coming, if you want to talk about a specific startup for a specific idea, what kind of company that or what kind of business entity that I should incorporate, if your idea is good, this is again a very broad statement. If your idea is already fairly tested, you have someone partnering with you, or you have a fair amount of understanding what is the market, how your startup and your idea is doing, you can go for an LLP partnership firm or a company. If you're still in a very, very nascent state, probably start with a proprietorship for a month or 2 or 3 months or whatever, and then move on to a proper business entity. Yes? Clear? Now, if you talk about the cost of incorporation, proprietorship, like I said, it's nothing. Nominal for a firm, just have a partnership deed written and apply for a PAN and if required a GST. And an LLP is going to cost you anywhere between 10 to 20,000, and a company is going to cost you about 20 to 30,000. Time also we've discussed, cost of compliance, company is the highest. And then this is another very important aspect which a lot of people miss. A proprietorship, you've all seen income tax slab rates, right? Budget has come, people are complaining that taxation is high for individuals, slab rates are not being changed, etc. Individuals have slab rates. If you're earning some income, whatever is your income minus your expenditure, the profit, you pay tax on it, very good. And there is something called as surcharge on income tax. So if your income tax is 10%, 20%, 30% on slab rate basis, if your income crosses 50 lakhs, there is something called as surcharge. You don't have to remember all of those slabs. I'll just tell you something. When it comes to an individual and your income crosses 50 lakhs, your surcharge starts from 10% and can go up till 37%. So making an effective tax rate of almost 40-42% also in certain cases. So imagine if you've earned 100 rupees, if 40 rupees goes out in tax, that's a pretty significant cost, right? Imagine in terms of time, you worked for 12 months, out of which 40% is going to the government. Good? Not good? Or you should plan properly. Planning is important, right? So there are people who do 1,000 crore turnover on a proprietorship also. There are no restrictions. 1,000 crores. They are into large scale trading. They supply to various entities, governments, etc. So they do 1,000 crore turnover on a proprietorship. There are no restrictions. There are people who do 1 crore turnover and have set up a company as well. So turnover need not be a criteria for you to decide what kind of entities to be set up. For a firm and LLP, this is an interesting concept. The tax rate for a firm is flat 30%, either a partnership firm or an LLP. And you have surcharge. Yes, there is 12% surcharge if your income crosses 1 crore. That's it. So effectively, at the most in a partnership firm or an LLP, you end up paying, let's say, effectively 34-35%. So is a proprietorship better or a partnership better when your income crosses 50 lakhs? Yes, no?
How do they manage escaping the tax with proprietorship crossing 1 crore?
I'll rephrase, man. It's not escaping. Let's say it is planning.
Okay, planning.
So legally permitted. See, if your turnover or your profit crosses 50 lakhs, there is nothing that you can do to escape it. You have to bring your income down to 49 lakhs.
Okay. Or do they open up multiple proprietor companies?
Very valid question, ma'am. You cannot have multiple proprietorships because you have a single PAN. The entire business is going to be in your name. So you can,
end up doing it.
yes, you cannot have 2 PANs. That is not permitted. In fact, it is a violation under Income Tax Act if you have 2 PANs. So in your name, in your PAN, there can only be one business entity, that is as a proprietorship. You can do multiple businesses. Just understand the fine difference. On your proprietorship, you can do 10 businesses also. It's just that if your income crosses, you pay more tax. If you are earning more, pay tax. That's as simple as that. But you cannot have 2 PANs just to reduce your tax. It will only be one. Okay. Now coming to a company. Company has 25% tax rate. Lot of people find this to be very enticing. It's very nice. Let me set up a company just because it is 25%. But there is a very, very fine point which a couple of people I know also have missed while setting up the entity. 25%, you earned 100 rupees, paid 25 rupees to the government, very good. You have about, let's say, 75 rupees left. When you distribute that profit in terms of dividend, individually also you have to pay tax. That is another problem that you have. Again, in the individual slab rates, it can start from, let's say, 10% and go as high as 40% also. So effectively, how much tax are you paying? There 25% and another 35%, leading to almost 50%. Now tell me, proprietorship better or company better? Proprietorship is better, no? But again, then why do you set up a company? Same way you want to go for funding. You need an investor who's going to invest in you. An investor is not going to put money in a proprietorship or a firm. He's only going to do it in a private limited company. So that is when this reason will be the cause for you to set up a company irrespective of the cost. Okay? So that is why I said at the beginning, your end game, the result, the expectation that you have will change the entire framework of which entity you incorporate. Okay? That's why you said tax on distribution of profits for a company. Yes, there is tax rate as far as the individual is concerned. That is the first thing that you will have to remember. Then ESOPs. Have you heard about something called as ESOPs? Employee Stock Option Plan. This is a way of retaining talent that an employee also gets a stake in the company. This can only be done when it is a private limited company. Okay? Is that clear? Do you want me to clarify somewhere? Yes, no? You don't want me to talk? Okay. So liability, we've also discussed about this. Decision making in the case of a company will involve board of directors, there will be a managing director, there will be shareholders. There are a couple of things which have to be approved by all of these guys. So which means decision making sometimes will take time, will involve multiple people. You are not the sole owner, or you are not the sole decision maker. If it is a proprietorship, it is you as an individual. You can take any decision that you want. Partnership firm is in between both of these. The partners, all of the partners together will have to take a decision. So that way partnership is still a little more comfortable, whereas a company is a little more cumbersome when it comes to decision making. Regulator specific of a regulatory act unto any date for proprietors. For partnership, you have two separate acts, Partnership Act and LLP Act, and companies will have Company Act. This is the question that was asked for conversion. All of these entities can be interconverted. A company can also be converted into an LLP. LLP can be converted into a company. There are associated conditions, tax clauses and all which have to be taken care of, but you have that flexibility. Just remember that there is a flexibility. And this is the last feature that belongs, for an asset, if you are buying a car or a building for a proprietor, it will be in the name of the proprietor. Partnership firm, there is no distinction between a firm and a partner. Both are considered same in law. So partnership firm has not been given the right to hold asset. That is where an LLP is distinct. LLP is a distinct body altogether. And like a limited liability and discuss that benefit has been given for an LLP. So which means LLP is an entity in itself and it can hold property. Company anyway has a distinction separate from the shareholders. So company can also hold property. Is this good enough? Can you go forward? And when you set up a company, please remember the shareholding pattern, and there is something called as a founders agreement. These are something which are very critical. When it comes to agreements, always please remember to read what you sign. This is like those permissions which your phone asks, right? Shall I allow this app to use your microphone? Or I agree to all the terms and conditions. We never read the terms and conditions. We just tick it and say yes. Let's say an app can, detect all your location wherever you go and also activate your mic wherever you are. Is that something you're comfortable with? No, right? Same way, please don't sign on any documents without reading them. Never ever go to the idea of copy paste. You get a lot of templates online. Use it as a template, but read through it, understand if it makes sense for you, and only then go forward. When you incorporate a company or a partnership firm, please be very careful with the partnership deed. Majority of the cases, people just go to their auditor gives them a template, fills the details, you sign and it's done. You will only realize the consequences when there are issues. Everything is good and rosy, there are no problems at all. But once there is an issue, you realize, oh, I signed this. You would have signed saying, I give all rights to my partner to take any decision whatsoever possible. You wouldn't want that, right? Now coming to DPIIT. DPIIT for startups is specifically a registration, a recognition sort of a thing given. Government under Startup India scheme wants to encourage startups to take up, to start building ideas, develop technologies, new businesses, etc. One of the motors is also employment generation. So government said we are going to give you some benefits under DPIIT if you are registered. Please remember, for DPIIT recognition and registration, only two types of entities are permitted: LLP and company. Government wants corporate structures and some kind of regulatory oversight when it comes to startup recognition under DPIIT. DPIIT is Department for